A journey home across the Irish Sea here on BBC One with the start of a new series and a tour of Wogan's Island.
Fáilte, welcome to my island. My island. And the Irish are a warm and spontaneous and funny and hospitable people, but they're not very big on structure. So if you're going to come on this little trip, come prepared for a wander. A meander up the boreens and the little lanes and the highways and the byways and the four green fields of Ireland. We'll meet the people, see a bit of the place. Come on. Over the next 10 weeks, I'll try to bring you a flavour of Ireland. And I don't want any whinging either about a lack of order or direction. This is no guided tour. It's just my view of a land and a people that I love. The Irish. They love talk and laughter and song and the old horse.
People I know would have more time for horse than they would for people.
You think they're a good judge, don't you?
Yes, definitely.
Then there's the sporting priest with his tips from the pulpit.
Well, I'd wait till the end of Mass so they'd stay on, you know. If you gave them the tip early on, they might leave, you know. So I'd wait till near the end.
There are those, of course, who don't think that all progress is necessarily good.
I think it would be terrible if we lost some of that, the peace of the place. And the symbols of modern Ireland became the McDonald's sign, an empty Coke can, and a discarded condom. And it could happen.
They used to say quite seriously that an Irish town was such a small place that if you lost your virginity, somebody'd be sure to tell your mother about it and have it found and brought home before 5 o'clock that evening.
None of these things are in the past, Terry. We are what we have always been.
And there's the movie boom, the astonishing growth of the film business in Ireland, which in some areas is creating just a little confusion.
Well, I'm playing in the old curiosity shop, a part called The Grandfather. I don't know what my name is.
Needless to say, we'll be leathering the floor in 100 different boots with straw in our hair. And why wouldn't we? That's it. Just the merest hint. Just a taste gone of what we have in store for you over the next few weeks. Ireland's history is full of tragedy and turmoil, battles and famines, suffering and loss. But at last, there's hope. No more than a foothold on the long climb for peace. All Ireland sighs for it. The timeless waves, bright sifting, broken glass, came dazzling around into the rocks, came glinting, sifting from the Americas. Did sea define the land or land the sea? Each drew new meaning from the waves' collision. Sea broke on land to full identity. This is Inishowen Peninsula in County Donegal, the most northerly county in Northern Ireland. And it's in the south. But this is Ireland. Won't be the only anomaly you'll come across. On the first journey, we're going to be crossing the border and back again so often, you won't know where you are. Who cares? The scenery on both sides is wonderful. The mysterious Greenaun of Éilech fort, at least 2,000 years old. Nobody's quite sure whether it was built for defense or for ritual. Today it's a place to come and admire the views and listen to the sound of different drums. Not just different types of drums. This is Northern Ireland. The drums have a deeper significance. They represent the religions and cultures that make up this country and divide it. Roy Arbuckle is the man who knows.
The lambeg drum is associated with the Protestant tradition in the north of Ireland. It originated in the village of Lambeg, and of course the bodhrán is more associated with the nationalist Catholic tradition. A couple of years ago, a friend of mine, Lawrence Price, we worked for a week with the kodo drummers from Japan. And from that we got the idea to do something the same with the indigenous drums of Ireland. We also try and put it on a world context. As we're here, the world comes unto us, we go out to the world. So we're trying to be of today, part of the world, the whole world, but also paying respect to our own traditions.
So tell us, Roy, where we are with the Green Olive Ale.
We're just actually outside of Derry, and if we look to the north, this is the peninsula, the Inishowen Peninsula. Across the water to the right-hand side, that's Lough Foyle, and then you can see the mountain over there is Benevena, that's in County Derry. And if we look all the way over to the west, we see the Fanad Peninsula. And on a clearer day, you could see the mountains of West Donegal, Errigal, and Muckish standing up there.
How many clear days do you ever get in Donegal?
Every other one, and it's clear in the morning and clear at night again. And behind us we see the River Foyle flowing south. That goes down by Strabane, all the way down to towards the south.
It's suitable that we're here, isn't it? Because Ptolemy wrote of this place.
Yeah, it was on a map, I think, in 2 AD, mentioned. I think there's a map that mentions Tara and the Greenan, they like together, you know. Not much else on the map.
Well, now, much as I'd love to watch and listen and set a spell, I've mouths to feed, agents to keep. I can't forget the day job.
Wake up to Wogan on Radio 2.
Welcome back, Groma Crea Cushla. Programme coming this morning from BBC Radio Foyle. I can tell that from the mug in front of me.
You move too fast.
Mr. Wogan, welcome to the Northwest. Here it is, Stroke City. Well, Londonderry, Stroke Derry. You didn't think the BBC gave me time off to do this journey round Ireland, did you? No chance. This is bi-media broadcasting. Heaven alone preserve us. This is my good friend, the sainted Father Brian Darcy. Shortly after this, he was sent to South Africa. For once being able to do his regular spot face to face, the poor unfortunate. It's just after 9:15, and as always at this time, Monday to Friday, we pause for thought. And as you know, we're coming to you from BBC Radio Foyle in Derry, stroke Londonderry, in Northern Ireland. And a man who broadcasts with me on Pause for Thought every Monday, broadcasts from Enniskillen in Northern Ireland. He's made the 60-mile trip to join us. Good morning, Father Brian Darcy.
Morning, Terry. How are you today?
I'm fine. It's a long way up from Enniskillen to here.
In my terms, it's a short enough wee journey, but anything's worth it just to see in the flesh.
Silver-tongued devil in a Roman collar. Father Brian Darcy is no stranger to the many problems that have divided the communities in Northern Ireland. Here in Derry, Londonderry, there's still plenty of evidence to show just how deep those differences cut. City walls have always had particular significance in Derry. At one time, the Protestants lived inside the walls and the Catholics outside. It's changed now. They do have a history that goes back a bloody long way.
They're hundreds of years old. They're finished in the 17th century, these. And they're associated with the apprentice boys and with the defence of the walls of Derry. And when people were at various decapitated stages during the history of Derry for trying insurrections, their head used to be put on top of these walls. And just to keep people down, they had that. It was a kind of a dominance thing. For the Protestant community or Unionist community, it was a symbol of victory. For the Catholic community, it was a symbol of dominance, which was difficult. But for example, I'm nearly 50 years of age, and I almost think I should have a sash on me walking these walls. I've never even got within 50 yards of them before, and now here I'm on top of them. And they're lovely. They're lovely walls.
But there are some people here who would resent a Catholic priest walking these walls, aren't there?
There would have been, yes, and I don't think it's as bad now, but most certainly, let's say, if the trouble started in 1969, the idea of a Catholic priest walking and parading and sunning himself on the walls would have been an extraordinarily difficult thing to comprehend.
Tell you, as you look at Derry now, this is where what's euphemistically called the Trouble started in 1969, but this is a city transformed.
Absolutely transformed. In my younger days, I remember coming here for the funerals on Bloody Sunday, and I thought to myself, I cried the whole way through, 13 bodies in one church. And I'll never forget that one day, a young fella singing Nearer My God to Thee. And it was a January day, and the sharpness and the coldness and the awfulness of the graveyard and the windswept place up on the far side of the city was a horrible memory that I will never forget to the day I die. But the marvellous thing now is you come into Derry, and Derry is one of those places that is leading the way. This is a place where it's given the lead to the rest of us. It used to be the symbol of everything that was bad, but Derry's new, fresh, vibrant. It really is a European city in the making.
Tell me this now as a Catholic priest, but as an observer, and I hope a dispassionate observer. You see, to a British eye and an ear, the idea that Protestants would live separately from Catholics is entirely foreign. Are we ever going to reach a stage in Ireland where Protestants will be able to live, in Northern Ireland, where Protestants will be able to live with Catholics in the same place?
I'm a great believer in integrated education. I'm a great believer in integrated work. But mostly, I have to say, none of it will work until the very point that you make, until we start living side by side together. Because the person next door, when all is said and done, is not a person you can kill. Is not a person you can hate. Is a person that you have to get on with.
Oh, well, I'm not so sure, Brian. I've had a couple of funny neighbours myself. That was the walls of Derry, a priest called Brian and a Callan called Gareth. Now, in this part of the world, it isn't just the two religions that live side by side. Two countries are next-door neighbours here. You can drive out of Derry, Northern Ireland, and have your lunch by the sea in the Republic, and only travel a couple of miles. The people who live here cross and recross the border several times daily. And it isn't only to do the shopping. There are other attractions. They've had a lottery here in the Republic long before we had one in Britain. And there's also the attraction of the wide open spaces of lovely Donegal, one of the biggest and most beautiful counties in all of Ireland. Donegal, Northern Ireland, but not Northern Ireland. They say Ireland has two tribes. I don't believe them. We're all the same people, separated only by archaic prejudice that at last is slowly disappearing. A few miles south of here, we cross the border again into Strabane, Northern Ireland, to call on a man who has a railway signal outside his house. He's a 78-year-old enthusiast and surrealist who collects all manner of things. That's only part of the wonderfully bizarre world. Paddy Gillespie. Well, now, Paddy, I knew you were in because the railway signal was up.
That's correct.
Now, you're a specialist in what could only be described as velocipedes.
Yes, right.
What in heaven's name is this? And tell me why you built it.
Terry, that's an old bed. It must be about 100 years old. An old iron bed.
Grandma's feather bed.
That's correct. And I decided I'd do something with it rather than take it to the dump. So I cut up an old bicycle and made it into a bicycle. And there, hey presto, there it is.
And cycled it down the street?
I cycled it down the street and made a lot of people laugh.
Yeah, well, I'd say so.
Yes, it certainly
did.
They
didn't throw things around.
Oh, not at all, no.
I see you've got Grandma's chamber pot.
Oh, yes, that's very essential.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very important.
So, I mean, you got a lot of laughter, and then what happened?
We come back here, And when I saw that that was going down very well, made people laugh, I went into the design department and with the exhaust pipes and made a few other models.
And this is the results here.
Yeah,
Come on,
so
we'll
we'll have a
look
wee
at
look
these.
round and see.
Yeah, look at this. This is a tricycle made for two.
Well,
three.
we christened this the mother-in-law bicycle because, as you'll notice, that we keep the mother-in-law facing backwards, so she can't dictate to us what way to go.
This is a very shrewd, but that's what you call a shrewd
Oh,
bicycle.
yes, it is.
A cunning bicycle.
It is a cunning
What's
bicycle.
this?
That's a bicycle there, a child's bicycle cut in two halves and joined together with the exhaust pipes of a motor car. So, hey presto, we put a steering wheel on it instead of handlebars.
You're either a genius or you should be in the home for the bewildered.
I think you're right, the second.
It's a jet bike, I take it?
Yes, I'll tell you about this one now. Yeah. This is a bigger rid here from Stibanthy today, which is 14 miles for children in need. I put a lawnmower engine into this, and I bought this propeller here. That's out of a model airplane, and it goes by air.
And you go straight over the street.
Yes, space age. Over Stibanthy.
What a man, what a man. Tell us more. That big long thing over there, what's that?
Yes, we have a name for that one now. That's another, one of my creations here. Big wheel, small wheel, with fitted together with exhaust pipes again. I use quite a lot of exhaust pipes to make for cars, to use these pipes. We christened that one there Long John. My son's a brave, big, long fella. Yeah. So
it's probably a reflection of the roads of Ireland that you're able to pick up so many broken exhaust pipes and make them into bicycles. What's that thing over there against the wall?
Oh, yes, yeah. That's a bicycle built for four.
Certainly
it's sort of a family affair. Pretty expensive to run.
This is a most bizarre place, I must tell you.
Well, I'm glad.
Because between figures standing in phone boxes and peering at you through windows, and there's a railway.
Oh,
over
yes,
here.
the County Donegal Railway. This is, by the way, the railway was just 100 yards from here down the street here.
Yeah.
And it's gone, of course, so I'm trying to relive it and revitalise it.
Can we take it down the street?
Oh, yes, I can take you for a run on it. No problem at all.
Okay. Yeah. Take me, where are you going to take me anyway?
Well, we're thinking about going down around Donegal.
Yeah.
That's where the train actually originated from.
My God.
And it's a tight squeeze for a big man like you.
Oh, never mind.
But it's no problem to
I
me.
was born to do this.
But we have to go through the motions here, Terry, because before we take off... So that's the signal. So we're taking off. So if we can get the machinery...
I beg your pardon?
I hope we have enough of coal.
Did you ever hear of a man called Magritte? Because you're Northern Ireland's answer to Magritte. This is wonderful. We're off to the Holliers. Where are we going? Paddy Gillespie, one of the great inventors of Northern Ireland. And of course from there it's only a hop, step and a to Letterkenny in the Irish Republic. You'll find that most small towns in Ireland have some kind of festival or hoolie going on all summer. They'll celebrate anything here. Don't ask me what these Incas are doing. I think they must be from Cork. Just a little dab of Irish war paint. Now, in this proud town of Letterkenny, they could well be celebrating the fact they've the only set of traffic lights in County Donegal. It's one of the first things they tell you here. They could, of course, be celebrating the new shopping mall. Completely user-friendly. It could well be voted the best shopping mall in all of Europe. And the competition is hot. Tunbridge Wells and Paris are in there. Now, don't ask me how many shopping malls there were in this competition. I'm just passing through here. Perhaps they've qualified because there's a feeling that Letterkenny has a certain je ne sais quoi. You don't think they're going to stage the Eurovision Song Contest here this year, do you? No, not at all. This is the kind of thing that happens all the time in Letterkenny. Breton fishermen and their ladies dancing, tripping a measure. You never know who you're going to bump into here next. This is George Cunningham. Now, you have to guess what he's famous for.
50 years ago, things were cheap, but you hadn't got the money. No matter how cheap they were, you hadn't got the money. And there were no. When I got the brew, when I got married, we had one wheel and the wife from Tipperary, and all we got was £2.16, and you had really 4 shillings left after you paid your bills. But things were cheap. But then today it takes more money. £50 or 100 years ago could have bought a farm. Now a house today would be 17,000, and that time 50 years ago you could have got it for £500. Even a bag of cement at 5 shillings is 20 times its value. It's £5 now for a bag of cement, isn't it? You don't see money, you don't value money. The more money you get, the more money you look for. houses are dear, rent's dear. And sometimes the rent that time was only a shilling a pair a head. But money was hard to get. And the brew didn't come out to 1914.
George?
Aye.
Did you ever think of being a politician?
I was going to be a councillor, and I wanted to be a Lord Mayor. And then I was councillor one time, and I wanted to go and the priest told me, don't go on, George, because the things you want, you're not going to get it.
George Cunningham makes Patrick Moore sound like he's treading water. And they're still marching, but of course it wouldn't be any kind of a parade at all without Irish dances. Now this is only the back view. You'll be getting plenty of views of the front as we go through this series, I promise you. But if you want to get away from marching bands, traffic lights, shopping malls, everything else that goes with 20th century life, you could do a lot worse than dropping in to see Margaret Gallagher in deepest Fermanagh. Look at this, straight off a postcard.
Down in the valley we have the twin villages of Belcoo and Blacklion, Belcoo County Fermanagh and Blacklion County Cavan. And over to the left we have the Culca Mountain, north side in County Fermanagh and the other side in County Cavan. Right on down to the Marble Arch Loop, a green belt. And right on here the house is east facing, looking out on Belmore Mountain. Belmore Mountain was originally owned by the Gamble family, and they went off to England many years ago and formed a company, Procter & Gamble.
I think they're familiar, yeah.
And they called one of their soaps Fairy Soap, after the fairy stories that heard on the Belmore Mountain.
Extraordinary. Can we go into your cottage?
Yes, certainly.
Okay.
Very welcome.
Right. And this little cottage of yours, Margaret, looks like Maureen O'Hara should be running out the half door, you know. It's a lovely place. Tell us about it.
Well, it's very old. My grandfather bought it 109 years ago, and my father was born here in 1888. He was one of 4 children, and he died in 1980. And my mother died in 1952, and that's just left my sister and myself, and I've lived here all my life.
And you have no running water, you provide all your own heat. You live without the supposedly modern comforts.
Yes, well, I think, well, they're supposedly modern comforts. I've never known modern comforts, so it doesn't mean anything to me going down to the well for water every morning or filling my lamps with oil. This is all I've ever known, and it's my life, and I love it.
How many rooms in this little cottage?
Just 3. Cottages like this always only ever had 3 rooms, what was called the upper and the under room. The upper room is always the better room, and the under room is the smaller one, and the centre of attraction is the kitchen because it hosts the fire, and really the fire keeps the house living.
You've all sorts of ancient artefacts of the farm and the house around, haven't you?
Yes, but they're all used. They're not really, people see them as artefacts, but they're not. They're in everyday use. I mean, the rake on the wall is for raking down the thatch when it's finished. The porringer is for taking spring water from the bucket. Everything you see is used, so they're not really artefacts as in a museum. They're artefacts being used.
Did the lure of the bright lights and the modern life not lure you away, as it were, to the big city?
No way.
And what about when the rain drives down and the wind blow in across the mountains?
I think that's a particularly nice time to live here, when there's winds and heavy snowfalls and you're completely alone. And this is my sanctuary. It's home, it's my security.
Loneliness?
No, alone but not lonely. 2 completely different things.
You read a lot, don't you?
Yes, I do. Not as much now as I did before I started working. I got my first job when I was 46. When most people was thinking of retirement, I was out looking for a job. And prior to that, I did a lot of reading. But now I don't have time. Work takes up too much of my time.
Why did it take you so long to go out to get a job? Were you looking after your parents?
Yes, my father was bedridden for quite a number of years, and I had a small farm, 12 acres, and 2 cows, which took up a lot of my time. But in 1972, I had to get rid of those because my father's illness was deteriorating.
You see, that's often painted in many Irish plays and books as a tragedy of women such as yourself, or even men who have to stay in the homestead and look after the aged parents and never actually carve a life for themselves.
Now, I think that's ridiculous, this stage Irishness of the poor old woman never got a man because she had to look after an ageing parent. I think that is ridiculous. And my life wasn't like that at all. I did it because it was my duty to do it. And I knew when I was doing it that that was the best years of my life. and whatever came after that I knew would fall into second place. I loved my parents. Unfortunately, my mother didn't live long enough to look after her. My sister went out to work and I stayed at home. If I'd wanted to go out to work, I could have, and she would have stayed at home. But she was the brighter, so it was automatically assumed she would go and earn the money, which she did.
And you never felt any resentment?
No, I loved it. I had the time of my life here with an old man that I was so sure could never leave. He couldn't walk at the end of his lifetime, so it was brilliant. He was always there. He was my security, and it was a pleasure having him.
On the question of security, bearing in mind where Margaret lives, right here on the border, still surrounded by lookout stations and the like, I asked her, had there not been times over the last 25 years when she'd felt in danger?
No, not really. The border to me is psychological, really, because I cross in and out to Blacklion, which is my twin village of Belcoo, regularly. And I don't see the border as a strict demarcation line. I just see it as a psychological border, and it doesn't annoy me in the slightest. The only time I would notice it was a border is when there would be a difference in the punt and the pound sterling. And then it would become a border to me.
So you never feel threatened and you never feel in danger here in what is a dangerous area of the world, living on your own?
No, I wouldn't see it as dangerous at all. I think that's another thing the media does, is portray the border as being troublesome. I wouldn't see it like that at all.
What's your view of Ireland? Is your view, would you say, cynical or ironical?
I've never actually sat back and looked at Ireland per se. I just look at my own area. I'm more inclined to think locally than globally or in Ireland as a whole. I just see my own patch. I'm very much a mully-lusty woman. I think if everyone looked after their own patch, everything would soon fall into place.
It's a proud boast to be a mully-lusty woman, isn't it?
It certainly is to me. I'm very proud of my townland, of my home, and of my culture.
A mully-lusty woman. Alone, but not lonely. You can hardly blame Margaret Gallagher for staying in her own backyard. She spreads heather on the floor, sifts the oatmeal ark for thin bread farms. All through the blue month, she tosses stones in basins to the sun and watches for the trout in the holy well. We've a lot more to see of this happy, sad, lovely country. And lots more to hear from its wise, gentle, wild, and always welcoming people. So come with me. May the road rise with us.
Next week, Terry takes the long way to Tipperary in Wogan's Island at the same time, 7:30, here on BBC One.